What's up, y'all? Hey, Pound for Pound is back. It's Tuesday night, and y'all know how we do it. I'm Toby D.
I'm J.R. Clark. What's up?
Hey, y'all, we got a good one tonight, and
Yeah,
I
we
know
do.
it's a lot of people concerned.
Yeah, it's like that old Wendy's commercial, where's the beef?
Yes, sir.
Where's the rush?
Man, and boy, do we need a rush.
Man, we need a big time rush. I mean, you got the club already coming out and saying that we're not going to negotiate with one Vic Beasley.
That's 8 sacks gone.
Gone.
Now, we
So
know he
sack
got
leader.
them in the second half of the season, mainly.
But, I mean, that was your sack leader for the team, right?
Yeah.
Second time in his career he led the team in sacks?
Yeah, with Grady Jarrett right behind him with 7.5.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, that all but says that you have to draft a pass rusher, right?
Yeah.
So-
or 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Yeah, they're definitely going to have to do something. But they're gearing up for what is going to be an interesting offseason
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and you know they're not going to really make a lot of those moves, or you're not going to hear a lot until after the combine is over, which is at
Right.
the end of this month. In the end, I think, March 1st?
Oh, yeah, like towards the end of the month. I know it's like, I want to say it starts off like the 28th and goes for 3 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, things are going to start to come a lot clearer after that. We're already starting to see some preliminary rumors starting to float around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think was it Albert Breer from SI talking about Devontae Freeman. Looks like it's probably going to be a cap casualty.
Yeah, no matter what the CBA is.
Yeah, right. And then that's been a lot of the banter back and forth, at least on Twitter, is well, if the CBA ain't there, they can't do the post one. Well, whether you can do the post one June cut or not, you got to create some cap space.
Right. And it sounds like Albert Breer, this is not, a sure thing that he's saying, but based on rumblings that he's hearing, it just may happen regardless, because they want to save some money. I mean, we're in a tight right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yes, they can act like that we're not in, cap hell, which I don't know if I would consider us in cap hell, but we are definitely tight right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coming into the new season with about $6 million in cap space.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
And that's after a restructure of what, Matt Ryan and Grady Jarrett.
Right. You restructure Matt Ryan, you restructure Grady Jarrett. I think you need to go knock on one Mr. Lopez Jones's door.
Yeah.
That
would be one.
Number 11, and be like, hey, dog,
Yeah.
we made you a Falcon for life.
Yeah.
How about helping us out, and restructure some of his money?
And since you may not be able to get rid of True Font, because he's about to be 30 years old, who wants a 30-year-old cornerback? You may go knocking on his door too as well.
And asking him to either restructure or even go the route of possibly extending True Font and bringing him back at a cheaper rate. They do that sometimes.
Yeah.
They get an extension, but it lowers the overall cap numbers.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do, because they're definitely going to have to get creative, especially if when you have guys like Donte Fowler Jr. talking about they want to play in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Which it was funny because a guy on my notification timeline was going back and forth with another Falcon gentleman, saying that Donte Fowler was essentially another Vic Beasley.
I think he's a more physical Vic Beasley. I guess if I had to put it that way, I think he can play the run more than Vic Beasley. We already got some people commenting. We're gonna get to the comments here in just a minute. But
what's up?
Yeah, y'all are lighting it up already. But there's a real good feeling that, or a good consensus going around, that Vic Beasley was misused here, and I can kind of agree to an extent. I think you finally saw him start to be used the right way the second half of this season.
Yeah.
And in his 2016 season when you were moving him around more. But with that being said, I think Donte Fowler would represent a little bit of an upgrade for what we do here. Mm-hmm. I think he's more of a physical edge, but I still don't know if I really want to pay him a ton of money, because I mean, somebody can tell me, like I could pull it or Google it if I need to, but I don't think he had necessarily a stellar year with Wade Phillips as his DC and on a line with Aaron Donald.
Well, he actually did.
Did he have a good
year? He had 11.5 sacks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then maybe I'm thinking about somebody else.
Yeah, he had 11.5 sacks for the year, and he terrorized. Of course, we all know he terrorized Matt Ryan.
Now, that he did do. Now, how many of those sacks came against Matt Ryan?
At least 2, I want to say.
Okay, so he had 8 sacks.
That's what I'm.
Cause we gave up sacks to everybody this past year.
I tell you, man.
I think I could have got a sack. I mean,
and I probably could have too. Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, between the potential of bringing in a pass rush, free agent, which I don't necessarily seem to be very likely. I think it's going to come from the draft. And with that being said, other than Chase Young, I don't know who I'm spending a first round pick on. I see everybody keeps talking about AJ Espinoza, and I did a video on AJ Espinoza. If we end up with him, I'm not going to be upset, but I mean, he didn't really jump out the page at me.
Well,
or jump off the film, so to speak.
I tell you this, I got 3 people right now because to me, when I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going based off scheme fit. Mm-hmm. You need a guy who can replace Vic Beasley and do some of the things Vic did. Right. Now, a lot of people don't agree with Bradley Anae from Utah being a 16th overall pick, but he can fit in a role of dropping back in coverage, rushing, standing up, hands in the dirt. He'd probably be a better fit playing against the run than Vic Beasley was too.
Right.
Another guy that I can think of, Kayvon Chasen.
Okay, yeah. Now I've seen that name popping up quite a bit. The Kayvon Chasen out of LSU, and I see a lot of people saying that he's just another Beasley, and I see a lot of people saying that they could see the potential of him being better, like he's already got more moves or whatnot. And it's hard for me to project what these guys are going to do and what these guys are going to be,
right,
so to speak, because anybody who want to sit here and try to tell me that Vic Beasley, you weren't excited when we drafted Vic Beasley, I'm going to look at you a little sideways.
I mean, I wanted Vic Beasley, but let's go ahead.
He had the production in college.
Let's talk about this now. When you say he's like Vic Beasley, that's exactly what you want, guys. Vic Beasley, they used him in this scheme that they run, so they're going to need another player similar to what Vic Beasley brought to the table.
Right.
Okay, so now, if you can get Bradley Anae in the second round with one of those second-round picks, okay, basically you have yourself a pass rush specialist who can spy on the quarterback as well,
right,
and drop in the coverage when need to. Okay, but then if you go out to Kayvon, who's also a piece that you can move around like you did Vic Beasley, now I don't see him much having his hands in the dirt.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, a little bit of tape I've watched on him so far because I haven't gotten into digging into him yet. I haven't seen. He seems to be more of a stand-up rush, a rush linebacker more than anything else.
Right.
And at that aspect right now, I would, as far as like replacing Beasley, and I don't know if anybody would agree or not, I would almost rather keep Devondre Campbell.
Well, I think ultimately we will keep Devondre Campbell. Now, I don't know if Austin Hooper, whom I deem, and a lot of people may be upset with me, is a luxury choice.
Yeah, I think so.
I would much rather, if we had to choose between Devondre and Hooper, it'd be Devondre Campbell because of what he brings to the defense and the scheme.
Exactly, and we're going to get into Hooper again here in just a little bit. All right, so I want to hit up some of these these comments.
Y'all rolling them in.
Right, y'all rolling in, and you're rolling in on what we're talking about right now. So I want y'all to have your say. I'm going to scroll back up. We'll skip over the niceties. They're giving you a hard time about your hat, talking about it ain't hoodie weather.
Hey man. hey, I'm allowed to wear my hat if I want.
That's right. Sergeant AR-10 said at least 2 pass rushers need to be drafted. I agree. And I think, Bradley and I believe you could get him, at least as it stands right now, probably in the second round, along with whoever you get in the first round. So Anthony Wright said...
Javon Kinlaw.
There you go. If I had my choice, it's Javon Kinlaw for sure. Anthony Wright said first round defensive end, second round defensive tackle, second round cornerback. Possibly. I would switch that. I would rather have Kinlaw in the first round. And then I don't care if you double up pass rushers because you got some good day 2 pass rushers on the board as it stands right now with Bradley and then that Zach Braun out of Wisconsin. So, all right, let's see, everybody's still saying hello. Sergeant says Freeman, Beasley, Neal probably gone. I don't think you're going to get rid of Neal. Best I can tell, his money's already guaranteed because he got hurt.
Yeah, I think Neal is staying.
Yeah, I think you're going to give Neal a chance to see if he can stay healthy. And because when he's on the field, he's a difference maker. Walter Mathis says Vic Beasley was poorly misused, and he felt like the city gave up on him. That's the reason why he wasn't excited to play. Well, the money needs to be the reason why he's excited to play. But I agree, he was poorly used at times here. So there we go. Anthony Wright again says, I know that both of you have heard that Hooper representatives are asking between 10 and 13 million. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit. No, I am not paying Hooper 10 to 13 million.
No.
Just not going to happen.
No.
Jordan Daniel says, once the rest of the league figured out how we used him, he couldn't do crap. I'm censoring here. We try to be a family show. Couldn't do crap the following year, so I'm ready to see a real pass rusher. That's true. I mean, 2016, when he went off, he couldn't follow it back up. And that's the part that worries you on with a pass rusher. Can you be consistent? And then he was not able to be consistent. That's for sure. Let's see. Fred Butts, what's up, Fred? He said Vic was lazy and didn't like to work. That's the part I think that bothers me about Beasley more than anything else is that there were too many reports that came out talking about he didn't want to take coaching. And I don't want you got to want to be great. Regardless of your talent, regardless of your athletic ability, you have got to want to be great. You listen to all the Hall of Famers, all of them say the same thing. Didn't none of them just luck into being an amazing player? They all worked tirelessly at it. So let's see. Down Yonder Sports says Vic not a dog. No one feared him. No one double teamed him. They double teamed Fowler for a reason. He had just 8. What if they double Vic? Grady would have really 8. So that's the thing. I think you could build, depending on what you do in the first round, something me and you talked about the other day. I really think you could build a pass rush from the middle, with Grady Jarrett. You pair him with a Kinlaw, and I think you could do some nasty stuff in the middle.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
Because we heard Thomas Dimitroff during the Senior Bowl when he was being interviewed while they were driving from Kelsey Conway.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that.
About the pass rush, and he said they were encouraged by what they had on the interior. He mentioned Tyler Davidson, which sounds like they do want to bring Tyler Davidson on probably at least a 3-year deal.
Right.
And he mentioned Alec Bailey.
Okay.
Along with Grady Jarrett. Now, my only problem with that is I don't know how encouraged you can be when both of those guys only had 1 sack apiece.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, that sounds like I ain't trying to tip my hand kind of talk to me. Let's see. Now, here's another name that Cody Paul just brought up. I want to get your opinion on that. What about a Robert Quinn? He just spent a year in Dallas, played pretty good there, had a decent year. I know there were times that he was disappointing in St. Louis, but he could be an interesting signing for cheap as far as trying to generate some rush.
Now, I do agree on that as far as we do need a veteran pass rusher brought in here to the Atlanta Falcons.
Right.
Now, my choice, personally, would be Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, but I think Shaq Barrett, he's gonna command a payday.
Oh, well, I'm sure he is. But here's my thing. At the situation you're at right now, you just let 8 sacks walk out the door.
True.
Now, provided it was gotten mostly in the second half.
Still, 8 sacks is 8 sacks.
It is. And you only had 28 sacks for the year.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Say that again for the people in the back.
28 sacks for the year when Shaq Barrett almost could have tied that with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, now how many sacks did we give up?
50.
You telling me we gave up 50 and only got 28?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the rush?
Where is it?
I think that's going to be my motto for this offseason.
And you know
where's
what? We
the
might
rush?
get some T-shirts with that. Any of y'all want to get
rush?
some with us? Let us know.
Hashtag where's the rush? You know what I'm saying? Because good Lord.
Because Takk McKinley is definitely one of those guys that we want to know where the rush is, and that's one of the guys that Thomas Dimitrov said he would like to see step his game up.
I mean, Takk, he's got some quick thumbs.
Yeah.
On that Twitterverse.
Oh, real quick.
He's got some quick thumbs. He's got some bum shoulders.
A second surgery on the shoulders again.
Ah, come on. Imagine that. We take a guy out of college that's got shoulder problems, and he continues to have shoulder problems.
Wow.
Anyway, so that's another guy who, I mean, he's coming up on his 5th year.
Yeah. Well, we drafted in 2017.
Right.
So 17, 18, his 4th year, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to show whether you should have your 5th year picked up or not. This regime has done been burnt twice.
And I think that's what they will be looking at. So he's got to come up off 3.5 sacks that he had for the year.
Now, look, Marty Young said the sacks can be misleading, like interceptions, pass breakups. I understand that sacks, the numbers itself, are misleading. It's the flashy thing that everybody likes to point at, but it's one of the more like defining metrics that everybody can gravitate towards and everybody can understand.
And with there not being much flash to the Atlanta Falcons, I think it's about time for some flashiness, y'all.
Something. I mean,
so I hear what you're saying. Mike Smith, you say the same thing. Dan Quinn said the same thing. But right now, with the situation that Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitrov are in, they need some flash.
Exactly. They definitely need some flash. I mean, you had San Francisco. Can we talk about them?
Yeah, let's talk about them.
Let's talk about them losing for just a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I like Shanahan as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he didn't get a ring so quick after leaving Atlanta.
Okay.
Like if he gets a ring in his career, so be it, But at least it wasn't just so quick after leaving Atlanta. That would have hurt. You know what I'm saying? That would have felt like potential lost.
Yeah, and I feel you. I mean, although we heard, Arthur Blank saying that he was cheering for him, I highly doubt that. I think very much so underneath, like most of us Falcons fans, he was hoping there would not be a ring with Kyle Shanahan either, because then that would make him look crazy because Kyle Shanahan's gone and he's gotten a ring while we blew our 28-3 lead.
Exactly. So, but it was also kind of nice to see Shanahan blow another 10-point lead in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, after blowing that against us.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
repeat.
But the reason why I even brought them up, not necessarily because of the Super Bowl, but was because of what got them there. Yeah, is that defensive line.
But the thing is, you got to look at San Francisco's been drafting in the top 5 since forever.
Exactly.
Since Jim Harbaugh was there.
So we obviously ain't drafting in the top 5.
No.
But if we can get some production, at least half the production of like a Nick Bosa. He was a monster in that Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And he was doing everything they could, So, yes, like I said, sack numbers aren't the end-all, be-all. But they sure are an easy metric to see if you're affecting a quarterback or not.
28 sacks ain't affecting the quarterback.
Not nearly enough.
Like I said, I hear what y'all saying. And listen, I'm not all about sacks either. But when you're at 28 sacks,
you gotta
and
do
most
something.
of them sacks came in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
When you were fighting for your coach.
Yeah, you got to do something.
That's not gonna work, man.
So, Walter Mathis says Atlanta's biggest problem, they have given too much money to underperformance on the field. You can make that argument. And I wonder if that's one reason why Mr. Blank is, stepped back from making the Falcon for life type comments.
Well, listen, you got to understand how the Falcons do contracts. They go based on production of future from what you did. Okay, right. So if Vic Beasley had 16 sacks and they decided to give him a contract, they be judging his production based on what he not only do then, but in the future. Now, unfortunately, because they do contracts like that based on productivity, future productivity, it don't always pan out.
No, it doesn't. I mean, and that's your case right there with Devontae Freeman.
Exactly.
You can't tell me that Devontae Freeman, like when he signed that contract, he earned it.
He had 2 1,000-yard seasons.
And you saw
about 28 touchdowns.
Right. And you saw no reason why that was going to slow down, really.
Right.
And then you had 2 injury-marred seasons back to back.
That is the downfall when
Right.
you're signing players based on their future
Exactly.
and what they can do.
Right. It's hard, I can't fault them, I guess is what I'm saying. I can't
Right.
fault them for signing. I know a lot of people are like, that's, another, cautious tale about signing a running back. I mean, them's the breaks sometimes, you know? Somebody I see, Fred Butts down here, suggesting that we might trade up for Chase Young.
Too far.
Way too far.
I mean, wow. You going all the way up to the 2nd overall pick from the Washington Redskins. First of all, I don't even see, in my mind, Washington Redskins even giving it up. I don't care how much you're giving, especially when Ron Rivera has compared him to Julius Peppers.
That's it.
And guess what? Jack Del Rio was the coach at the time Julius Peppers was drafted. So I believe the consensus with both of these guys are in agreement about Chase Young. They're taking Chase Young at number 2 overall.
I think so. I think to me, that's a foregone conclusion at that junction. You'd have to give up the farm.
Yes.
You'd have to pull like a Mike Ditka.
I don't even think whatever you give that they're going to give up that opportunity to get Chase Young to join that young group over there that they have. And they have a nice, formidable young defensive line over there already.
I agree with Iron Mike there. He said we got too many holes to be trading up.
Right.
Yeah, with the cap space that we have, we can't necessarily augment it as much with free agent. So we're gonna have to probably keep all these picks.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I would love to have Chase Young.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I just don't see it happening now. What I do see feasible is Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah, you might use that extra second.
Yeah.
Package it with your 1 and try to move up above. Somebody like a Jacksonville or something like that. Jump them and get Javon Kinlaw. Try to get in that bottom 10. I could see them potentially doing that, or I could really see it if Kinlaw falls past out of the top 10.
Right.
Him or Derek Brown, depending on how they test and stuff at the combine. Let's see. Charleston Nash says, I wonder if Rich McKay and Raheem Morris could be the GM and head coach this time next year if Quinn and Dimitroff underperform and the defense takes a leap. It's possible.
And that could be very possible.
That could. I mean,
especially if Raheem Moore's defense excels.
I mean, if Raheem Moore's defense excels and like the offense is still looking stagnant.
Yeah.
And it's plain and simple that Dirk Cutter is a problem, and Dan Quinn stuck with him. I could potentially see it happening.
I could, because Raheem Morris would probably become, if the defense does well under him again, like it did in the second half of the season, could become one of the hottest names out there.
Now, okay, this is about, I think, the second time Xavier's brought this guy's name up. That Jaguars pass rush, Yannick.
Boy, I can't say his name, but man, you read my mind.
Now,
I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't going to be able to pronounce his name, but boy, you read my mind.
Yeah, now that's one.
Thank you.
That's one free agent pass rush. I would definitely like to go after.
It was showing up in my mind, man, but I could not pronounce his name, and I was like, man, I didn't want to butcher it. I can't remember it for one, but man, I'm glad you brought that up because he definitely be an interesting guy to bring over here. If he makes it into free agency.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. Somebody else brought up earlier.
That's a great one.
Right. Clowney.
No.
I don't want Clowney. I just don't.
I don't see Clowney as being that guy for the Atlanta Falcons, and I don't see anywhere where he's going to help boost us.
Right. I mean, plus he's already pretty much said he wants some money.
And I don't see how you're going to pay the man when he hasn't really shown anything over there in Seattle. And he had an opportunity to be the premier guy because Answer Show wasn't.
Yeah, no. Anza, no, he's been a flame out as well.
Yes.
Demetrius Hawkins says the better picks are found in later rounds because you have the players that felt like they should have went earlier in the draft. Exactly, yeah, that chip on the shoulder mentality. I think that's a lot of what happened with Grady Jarrett. He gets paid and then puts in one of his best seasons to date. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, exactly. He's motivated by payday.
Exactly. Ghost Pepper says, I remember we traded up for Julio Jones, who became a beast amongst men. But how did the rest of those picks turn out for us? Laugh my butt off. Need to stay put. Yeah, exactly. I don't think who else was in that Julio Jones draft. I can't think of anybody.
I
don't think there's anybody that's still on the team. That's for sure.
I can't even remember, guys, and I ain't even trying to remember.
No, and I know the picks that we traded away turned into nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, Ghost Pepper says Peter Kahns and Lamar Holmes are monsters. Yeah, they're monsters of my memory.
But they were in the 2012 draft.
Were they in the 2012?
Yeah, you took them in the second round and third round because you lost your first round pick.
Right. Let's see, 420 War Games says, what about Eric Armstead? Isn't he a free agent? He is, but it's really sounding like all the news and smoke that's coming out of San Francisco is that they want to do everything they can to keep him.
And they probably will. And see, that's why I can't really get too excited about some of these guys because we know now, I will say this, the free agency is the most exciting with the possible free agents that will hit the market than I've seen in a long, long time.
Right. Oh, yeah. You got, like, a report came out this week that the Patriots are going to let Brady test the free agent market, like, flat out. And you already know Phillip Rivers is going to be out there.
Well, I don't think Brady's coming back because
I don't think so either.
Las Vegas Raiders have already put it out there. They're going to do everything in their power to see if they can get Tom Brady to come to Las Vegas. And I think they will win him over.
Uh-huh. So, let's go ahead and get in a little bit more free agency. And by that, I mean, let's talk the bigger elephant in the room.
Okay.
Let's talk Austin Hooper.
All right, let's do it.
If it was me and if it was left up to me, which thank God it's not, because I'd mess everything up. But,
I would have to agree to that.
I would mess everything up? Oh, okay. I was about to say, I thought you were saying I was going to mess everything up.
You know I would never say anything like that, JR.
Just messing.
Now, I would probably blunder it all up, too.
So, okay. If it's me, if Hooper wants anywhere near $10 million a year, I have to shake his hand, tell him thank you, and let him roll.
Well, you heard all the blank. He didn't say he'd be a Falcon for life, like you mentioned. He only said he's worth a new contract.
Yeah, he's worth a new contract. I'll give you that.
Don't necessarily mean that the Falcons are going to pay it to him.
And I don't think he's worth $10 million a year.
Hey, we appreciate you. Goodbye.
Right. I mean, to me, there's only been one tight end in the past few years, a couple in the past few memory that I could. And one is Gronkowski, and the other one's Tony Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, Travis Kelce is an amazing tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Greg Kittle or George Kittle. George. Man, I'm messing that dude's name
up. You
up.
always want to call him Greg.
I do want to call him. He's got a Greg face. Okay. All right. No, George Kittle is a good tight end.
Yeah.
But they're good because of the systems that they're in.
Right.
And the coaches that they have calling the plays. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, Austin Hooper had probably one of his better years this year. And everybody's going to say, oh, well, you were down on Dirk Cutter. What I have learned and what I've come to suspect about Dirk Cutter.
Tell him, JR. Tell him.
In reading, looking at the stats, looking at the targets, looking at the numbers, watching his offenses, Dirk Cutter relies on elite talent, period.
Yes, sir.
Okay? That doesn't matter where that elite talent is. Is it at a wide receiver? Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Julio Jones.
Yep.
Okay? Is it at tight end? Tony Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. Austin Hooper. Okay? Is it at running back? Fred Taylor.
Yep.
Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yep.
When he's had elite level talent or when he has elite level talent, that's what he uses. So what I'm getting at is if he doesn't have a tight end, an elite tight end, those targets will just go somewhere else.
Right.
It'll go to Julio Jones.
When Austin Hooper was out a couple of games.
Right.
They went to Julio and Calvin Ridley.
Exactly. That's what I was finna say. You have Julio Jones and you have Calvin Ridley and you have up and coming Russell Gage.
Yep.
And you have every now and again, either Christian Blake or
Olamide Zaccheaus.
Olamide Zaccheaus. Appreciate you. But so what I'm getting at is that if they can re-sign Hooper for a number that makes sense, I'll gladly have him back. but I'm not trying to invest that much capital
No.
when my offensive coordinator is Dirk Cutter.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I hear a lot of people talking about, like, especially when they talk about wide receivers getting, this guy ain't no good because he gets schemed open. Look, I'm gonna lay a little bit of my own thought process, my own truth down on y'all. Almost every receiver gets schemed open. There are only very few that don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, Julio Jones is one of those guys that's going to get open regardless.
Yes.
Jerry Rice, one of those guys that are going to get open regardless. Calvin Johnson, you see where I'm going here?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody other than somebody like that, they're getting schemed open. That's what the routes are.
Right.
That's what these route trees are. That's what these designs are. That's all scheme.
Mm-hmm.
So to sit here and try to tell me that this guy is good or ain't good because he can't get separation or he can't get open. Look, you can scheme anybody open. Dirk Cutter ain't scheming nobody open.
No. He needs them to win their one-on-one matchup. They say it all the time.
Yep.
He's not Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan will scheme. He'll scheme me open.
Yeah, I could catch a touchdown with Shanahan.
Yeah.
I could catch a touchdown with, vintage McShay.
Yeah.
But with Dirk Cutter, you have to be able to beat your man.
And
consistently.
I'm glad you brought that up because we know Austin Hooper's not consistently that guy.
No, or at least he hasn't shown to consistently be that guy. Now he was getting better, and like I said, he just so happened to turn in his best season.
Yes.
In his contract year, which happens to
everybody,
right? Which is fine. Look, if I knew my job was on the line, I'm gonna perform out my butt too.
Of course.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and I ain't even gonna eat, or I'm not even gonna get mad about that. But what I'm saying is that you can get that kind of production with Dirk Cutter out of another position.
Yeah, you can, and you will.
Right. Like I'm pretty sure they're not going to bring Hooper back.
Well, look, man, you got to understand that you got Calvin Ridley to be coming up with a deal soon.
Yeah.
In a couple of more years. So if you put all that money in Austin Hooper, what happens to Calvin?
Right. Now, are you pretty much like, has Julio Jones shown you that he's going to be done in a year or two?
No.
I don't think so.
Julio still looks like, I already told y'all, and if I hadn't told y'all, Julio looks like he can go well into 35 before he lets it go.
Exactly. So I'm not worried about Julio right now.
No.
I want to keep Julio as fresh as I can. I'll give him plays off when I can, but you got a guy like let's see, Joseph just brought it up, talking about Jaden Graham showed some promise.
He sure did.
In the games that he was out.
And he ran some of the similar routes that Austin Hooper ran to get open.
Exactly. So, I mean,
scored a touchdown off of one of them, as a matter of fact.
Right. And, somebody's talking about bringing in Anthony Wright's talking about bringing in Eric Ebron. I don't know about no Eric Ebron.
Now, I wouldn't disagree with that. I actually agree with Anthony Wright about that because I was thinking about that myself. He would be a cheaper option.
Oh, he would definitely be and in my opinion, cheaper option. I'm looking at like a one Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
Or even an O.J. Howard.
And if Cameron Brate were to be cut or let go from them, because I'm hearing rumblings that he don't fit in the scheme.
No,
over there with Bruce Arians.
Yeah, Arians ain't never cared about a tight end.
That with Ben Steele now moving up to the tight ends coach, he could very well be an option for the Atlanta Falcons.
Right. I mean, he's got, experience under Cutter.
Yes, he does.
And, I remember watching, when Cutter was down there in Tampa Bay going, who in God's name is Cameron Brate and why is he catching touchdowns against us?
Yeah.
Because he was always catching touchdowns against us.
He sure was. And I don't think nothing has changed about that except Bruce Arians doesn't really like him in his offense.
Right. And that's why I'm thinking that you might even be able to get, O.J. Howard for a song.
And you may be able to get both of those. See, and that's what I'm thinking too. If you get Eric Ebron, you get somebody else in, whether it's through the draft or free agency. You can get two for the price of one.
Right. Keith in the chat there just brought up a commit from Notre Dame. Okay. Tight end and saying he's a beast. He's a guy that I'm looking forward to watching as the summer or as we get closer to the draft. So Twan McGee says we can live off of Jaden Graham and get Moss and get this running back Dobbins or Akers. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting J.K. Dobbins. I just don't. Again, where do you want to invest your draft capital? If they cut if they cut Freeman and decide not to maybe not bring back Hill or something, then I would be like, okay, let's draft a running back.
I like this running back class.
It's a decent running back class.
And I don't think you have to use your first 3 picks between the first and second round to be able to get someone. I think you can still go in the 4th and up round to get someone.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Because you got guys like your higher tier. I think your top tier right now in this draft class is DeAndre Swift. I think he's your number 1. And then following right behind him is that J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio. But then you got a real good clump of, like, I think it's Zach Moss, and there's
Joshua Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly.
Yeah.
There's a handful of other guys who are like real clumped up there. So that would be an interesting way to go as well, especially if they decide to let go of Freeman and not bring back Brian Hill.
Right.
Because he's restricted, so you're going to have to sign him.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind running with Hill for a little while. Like, he showed some promise.
And you know, it's a possibility. But I think they're gonna want to draft somebody out of this class because of how, to me, strong it is. It's a strong running back class,
right?
Where you actually have some selections that you can bring into the Atlanta Falcons. Now, here's a guy that I don't know where he would get drafted at, but I spoke about him on Twitter. Raymond Callie from Louisiana Lafayette.
Okay.
Guy has nice return ability. He looked very good in the Collegiate Bowl, especially returning the ball. Took one to the house.
Okay.
And I know we've struck out with trying to get guys who can return the ball. I know this. But I think this guy could come in from a running back. If we don't bring back Kenyon Barner, he can be a replacement for Kenyon Barner's role.
True. And I wouldn't mind bringing back Kenyon Barner. I enjoyed watching him return the ball. Some people are in the chat are bringing up Hunter Henry, the tight end out of the Chargers. Other people are rebuttaling those people, saying he's made of glass. I tend to agree. He's far too injury prone.
Yeah, he hasn't had a successful year when he was drafted the same year as Austin Hooper was.
Right. And so, I mean, he's a monster when he's on the field. He's just not on the field enough, and that's always a problem.
But you know what they say, sometimes atmosphere, and I heard Hugh Douglas mention this, sometimes atmosphere is a huge change. You know, where you were getting injured before, going to a different atmosphere may produce better results.
And it's possible. You never know. I wouldn't mind, like, if it came down to him, you know, maybe a prove-it deal kind of thing, if they could swing that.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're going to go through some of this. Ghost Pepper's talking about Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Dillon, and Zach Moss. Yes. Yeah, that's some of the names. Yeah, I think this is a real good, like, mid-round running back draft class. Yeah. Charleston Nash says, I think Raheem Morris wants bigger defensive linemen so they can dare to throw into his coverages. That's possible. I mean, he's a Tampa 2 disciple.
Yeah.
And, you know, you want him to throw into those coverage to make that work. So, you know, to do that, you know, we need to affect the quarterback. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, you most definitely have to do that. But at the same time, I like the move when they went and got Joe Witt Jr., the guy I couldn't remember his name 2 weeks ago.
Right.
I think they're going to really be heavily reliant on what they have in the back end to be able to help them with that pass rush. And we know both work hand in hand.
Very much so.
I saw in a few of these games, I started noticing pattern matching. And I think this is why they go out to Joe Witt Jr., because of that philosophy of being able to basically run a receiver's route for them.
Okay.
And you need someone who can teach that. And Raheem was able to do it, but now he's going to be full-time DC. He needs a guy that can handle that for him. I think you're going to see a lot of understanding on what these teams' routes are and their concepts, and see these guys doing what they started doing at the second half of the season, really shadowing and running these guys' routes for them, what's produced one for Ricardo Allen.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree. I think bringing in that Joe Witt Jr. tells you all you need to know. I don't think they're going to be drafting a cornerback high.
No, and nor do I think they need to.
No, not with Kendall Sheffield and Isaiah Oliver and possibly keeping Trufant.
Yeah.
And then you got Sheffield. Is it Sheffield?
Yeah.
Which one's suspended?
Yep. Oh, Jordan Miller.
Miller, that's it.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, exactly. I think with this young group, a guy like Joe Witt Jr., I think is going to be phenomenal with them.
Yes.
Let's see here. People are asking us if we forgot about Quadre Olison. No, I've not forgot about Quadre Olison. I hope he gets some more runs too, or gets run in the whatever was log jamming him early in the season. It seemed like he got past that and showed the coaches what they were looking for, because he was starting to get like short yardage and goal line.
And I think
runs.
that is, to me, guys, is what you're going to see his specialty. Now, one thing that was thrown around because they were trying it out in preseason is the possibility of moving him to fullback.
I would not mind seeing in a 2-back set, letting him run as a fullback and also causing some, potential misdirections.
And don't be surprised if you see them making that move full time with him, taking him to that fullback role.
It would be interesting. That much is for sure. Let's see. Marty Young says we need a running back that can get those medium throws, not in O.J. Howard or Ebron. No, okay, hold on. It says we need a run. Okay, I read that. I'm sorry, Marty. I read that wrong big time. Marty Young said we need a run-blocking tight end that can get those medium throws, not an O.J. Howard or an Ebron. Okay, I get it. If you're going to use Jaden Graham, I guess, is more of your pass-catching tight end. I guess that's what he's saying there, is that O.J. Howard and Ebron are more of your pass-catching tight ends. All I know is I don't necessarily want to see Luke Stocker back, at least not at the price tag that he wants.
No, that combination between him and Matt Ryan started off sour from the get-go.
From word go.
Yes.
So let's see. Daniel Woodley says get Donte Fowler in here. I agree. I wouldn't mind having Fowler in here, especially, if he wants to play for the Falcons and for Quinn and is willing to take a little bit less money, I'm all for it. Bring him in.
He's already put it out there. He wants to be back with Dan Quinn.
I think so.
He feels like Dan Quinn can help get his career where he thinks and believes it should go, being a former 3rd overall pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what this is all about.
Yep. Marty Young also talking about Kareem Hunt. No, I'm good. I don't need Kareem Hunt. He's a great running back, an amazing running back, but he's got some off-the-field issues that I don't need cropping up.
They won't even go that far into someone like a Kareem Hunt. I don't see it.
Let's see. Donald Copeland says, what do we know about Ito? Nothing right now.
That he's injury prone.
Yeah, right. He might be injury prone like Devontae.
I'm sorry. I just had to throw that out there. Ito he's great when he's on the field, guys, but he's like glass to me too.
Yeah, I don't need Ito being my every down back. I like Ito, but he can be my change of pace back. Daquan Patton says ATL seems to draft a running back and a cornerback almost every year. I really want us to double dip on the D-line or with our first 3 picks, preferably D-line. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing the first 3 picks be all defense players and none of them cornerbacks. I would love to see all defensive line players. Give me a defensive tackle and do 2 defensive ends, and I'll jump for joy.
Now, I know somebody that's very interesting that I would like to get. And somebody, correct me if I'm wrong with saying his name, Brian Herron from Georgia Bulldogs.
You talking about Harrion?
Yeah, Harrion.
Okay.
He had a great collegiate bowl. And as you guys are seeing, it seems like when teams draft Georgia Bulldog running backs, they end up going to Super Bowl and winning. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Gurley didn't win.
No, Gurley didn't win, but in the AFC they've done it though.
I know. I got you.
I'm just saying. Yeah, Gurley didn't do it, but at least 2 guys. Sony Michel, the New England, and who was the other guy from the Georgia Bulldogs running back that he's on the Kansas City Chiefs team, I believe.
No, are you talking? No, you talking about a wide receiver, Mecole Hardman?
No, not you know what?
Maybe he's a wide receiver,
but I think there is another running back, if I'm not mistaken.
He's undrafted.
That was drafted that is on the team.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
But it ain't that important.
As y'all know, I
I
don't pay that much attention to college.
Brian Herring, I think he would be a nice asset to the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh yeah. So, we got off on a tangent there, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did.
Let's see. No, as far as the draft goes, I would love to see like I'd love to see an all defensive draft. Like,
and it just may be.
Give me a solid left guard in free agency and then draft all defense, and I'd be tickle pink.
Yeah.
Ghost Pepper says, I would love to have Robert Quinn. Dude has been consistent throughout his career. Man, isn't Quinn, isn't he getting up in his 30s? I don't know. Somebody fact check that for me.
To me, like I said, regardless of the matter, you need at least one veteran pass rusher on this team.
Yep.
Okay. He don't necessarily have to be an outside guy. He can be an inside guy. But I think you need another veteran presence on this team with the Atlanta Falcons to help bolster that pass rush.
And, help bolster whoever you get in the draft, and also to help maybe, focus Takk McKinley.
Right, because if you're looking, you can't possibly right now be looking at Takk McKinley being the leader of whoever is being drafted.
No,
I don't think he's ready for that role yet. Now, he's got a lot of fire, don't get me wrong. But as far as a leadership role, no, I just don't see that right now.
No, not at all. Let's see. Down Yonder Sports says they all defense. They go all defense. I'll be the happiest man in the world. Throw in a left guard. I'm good. See, he's right there with me. Give me a decent left guard. And let's see. Hashir says, can you talk about Uter Gross Matos? Right now, I think with the off the field situation, him coming up in that lawsuit about hazing and stuff, I think right now ain't nobody talking about Gross Matos.
No, they're not. But now I tweeted this on Twitter. He reminds me. Now it's just my opinion. He reminds me of Greg Hardy.
Yeah.
When you watch him play and how he rushes the passer, and Greg Hardy had some success before he started having all these off the field issues with guns and everything, and beating his girlfriend and all that stuff. I think he can have success at the next level, and I know nobody's really talking about him, but you're not really hearing a lot about the hazing situation either.
No, not right now, and teams are going to dig into it. So
yeah, they're going to ask them all this at the combine.
Yeah, as we get closer to the combine and get working towards the draft, you're going to get more of that information is going to come up.
Yeah.
And all I know, as it looks right now, every mock I look at, he's not in the first round anymore.
Yeah.
Before that hazing stuff came out, he was one of the
top guys.
Yeah, one of the top guys. So it just depends on what ends up coming out about that, because there's already one guy, a linebacker, who didn't get invited or can't participate in the drills of the combine because some of the off-the-field stuff. So the NFL is already starting to put a hammer down before you even get into the league.
Wow.
So that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on there. Anthony Wright, hey, man, you're on it. If I could give you a star for comments tonight, you're on it. He's talking about
he always is.
Yeah, Rashard Lawrence and Justin. Matabu. Man, I ain't even, some of these people's names, man. God. Anyway, and then Roquan Davis, he's talking about probably some day two defensive tackles if we couldn't get a Javon Kinlaw. I've had my eye on that Rashard Lawrence out of LSU. I'm looking to watch some tape on him as well. So
now here's a guy I'm going to throw out, and he may not even get drafted, or he may get drafted in the 6th or 7th round. He reminds me of Vance Walker, and for whatever reason, he is on my mind. T.R. Tart.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you've brought him
Florida
up before.
International. The dude, yes, hasn't been consistent throughout college, and that probably could be to maybe lack of motivation with what he was playing, but he showed out in that Collegiate Bowl. I mean, he was wreaking havoc like there was no tomorrow.
Okay, so maybe that's a defensive tackle we can get later in the rounds, because it's also going to be interesting to see what they end up eventually. Is this the last year for Sanat?
I don't know. It might be.
Is he going to be able to actually get on the field and play? Because that's just been interesting.
Whatever has caused them to be disinterested in him, I don't know what it is. Maybe those stories will come out later. I don't know. But they just put him on the shelf.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Kojak Nantucket says some of those off-the-field issues may bring some dog into the team. Look at the honey badger. Now, the honey badger is an interesting example because he turned himself around big time.
Yes.
Like, and that's not something you see a ton of, you know. So, with that being said, if any of these guys that do have off the field issues, if they could turn themselves around, that'd be great.
Man, he really impressed me with his leadership that he showed in that Kansas City game. When the defense wasn't playing up to snuff, man, he was getting in guys' face. It didn't matter how big you were. He was in your face telling you, get it together. And look what they did. Ultimately went out, got the stops they needed, and won that Super Bowl.
Yep, exactly. Walter Mathis, apparently Chuck Smith made a comment, I'm guessing, on their show about how he would put Devondre Campbell in the middle and put Deion Jones on the outside. That's interesting. But the big knock about Campbell coming out, and I think the reason why you see Jones in the middle more than anything else is like Campbell didn't necessarily have the football IQ was the thing that I kept reading about him.
Well, let me say this. I can see why Chuck Smith would say that because he worked with Devondre Campbell.
Right.
When Devondre got signed with the Atlanta Falcons.
True.
Okay. He didn't get the opportunity, nor did Vic Beasley have a desire to work with him, which is one of the reasons why I'm sure he was down on Vic Beasley, saying the same things. I didn't watch the show, but I heard a lot about him saying that Vic didn't have the dog in him, just like a lot of other fans are saying the same thing. But I would not take Devondre Campbell and switch him with Deion Jones. I think Deion Jones was a product of Dan Quinn when he didn't have the best season he could have starting out. You saw the change when Raheem Morris took place.
Right.
He was back to his
old self.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you were to move Devondre Campbell from the position he's in and put him in any other position, I would put him in more of a rush linebacker.
And I think you will see more of that.
You know, if they re-sign him, I think you'll see more of that.
Yeah.
Tracy Robertson says, do you think A.J. Espinoza from Iowa would be a good option for pass rush with the 16th pick? If we stay at 16 and Javon Kinlaw's not there, I'll take A.J. Espinoza all day.
I'm taking A.J. Espinoza if I can get Bradley Lee right after him.
Right. No, yeah.
Because, like you said before, drafting an Adrian Claiborne, because that's what he reminds me of when I watch him. And I'm sure you agree. In the 16th overall pick, I don't see that as a good idea. Now, if you're going to package him with someone else that can complement some of the things he can't do, like i.e. drop in the coverage, i.e. spy on the quarterback,
right?
Then yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. If with AJ Espinoza, he wins with power.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. Like if they're wanting to do twists and stunts and all that jazz, he ain't got the speed for that.
He don't fit.
He don't fit at all.
Yeah.
You already have that guy in a sense in John Kaminsky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think John Kaminsky is a guy who could, take a leap.
And you need
forward.
him to take a leap.
He started to show, towards the end of the season. So he's another guy that I'm kind of excited about to see what you got in him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Daniel Willie agrees. He said, we need Bradley and I. And I think that's the name that we're going to be hearing a lot about.
Yes, sir.
As it all goes.
And like I said before, if you're looking you need a guy who can replace Vic Beasley and do some of the things he did.
Yeah.
Bradley or Nye, to me, right now, is closest to fitting the Vic Beasley role.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for one of y'all, those out there that are bringing up unintentional grounding, yeah, we know who unintentional grounding is. I've conversed a handful of times with Lieutenant Dan, like via Twitter and stuff like that, and that might be something we do in the future. Not exactly looking to do anything like that right now, but that might be something we do in the summertime, possibly. But we'll see how all that transpires.
I will say this on that. I put out the question about things that you guys, what you would like to see from us to do, and I know it's been mentioned about us doing collaborations with other guys. We are looking into doing that in the future. But right now, JR and I want to focus on another thing you guys mentioned about bringing people on the show, live and via Skype.
Right.
And right now, that's our biggest focus. And it may be that we will get with unintentional grounding at some point. But there are some guys right now that we're interested in as far as the draft that we really want to talk to and hope you guys will accept when we bring them in.
Exactly. We're look for some of those guys to start coming on the show like after the combine, because I really want to get some more perspective on the players in the draft and the players coming up and players that we could potentially be looking at. And so we've been talking to some guys who spend a lot of time just digging into the draft, and we're probably going to start trying to get them on the show after
the combine.
After the combine.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let's see. Daniel Woodley says, "Don't be surprised if the Falcons pick Anaya at 16. They're known for picking the unexpected guy when it's their guy." And I agree. I'm about to say they took Keanu Neal at 17. Yeah. So, if they're really high on Anaya, then that just possibly, especially the last few years when they've missed out on, Wilkinson from Christian Wilkinson, and a year or so before that, it was another defensive tackle that they just had missed out on. So, yeah, I mean, this draft and offseason is going to be a real interesting one.
Talk Sports just chimed in asking us what we think about Caleb Vaughn Chasen.
Okay, what's up, Drew? I didn't even see you. My bad about that. I'm going to have to watch some more on Chasen, because I've watched a little bit, and I do like he seems real active. I love how athletic he is.
Yes.
The only thing that somewhat worries me is I haven't necessarily seen him put his hand in the dirt at all.
I don't think that's the type of guy he is, but he can be like he was against Oklahoma, spying on the quarterback, dropping in the coverage,
right.
Moved around as a chess piece.
Yep.
The thing that worries me about him, and I know you guys say sacks don't mean everything, he only had 6.5 sacks.
Yeah, that's
and they're probably going to go by depending on what his measurables are and how well he does in the combine. The potential that he brings because of that athleticism.
Right, and yeah, that's the production worries me. But I mean, we just had a guy here that had double-digit sacks all 3 years in college.
Yeah.
And you saw how that turned out. So what do I know, right? Charleston Nash says, "Is there any surprise cuts or moves y'all could see?" What you got?
Nothing will surprise me right now, because I'm just sitting back and watching and seeing how Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff are going to be able to work themselves out of the mess that they've put themselves in. That's it.
I'll put it to you like this. The one surprise I could see, is if we absolutely, and I would be shocked if we did it. That's why I'm going to throw it out there as a surprise. If we were just to cut Alex Mack. With as bad as the offensive line was last year, and giving up 50 sacks, if we were to cut Alex Mack, probably one of the best centers in the league, even now, that would shock me to death. I could see him doing it because of money reasons.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason is money. And that would absolutely suck to me.
That would. I think, to me, if that happens, it would be predicated based on what Dirk Cutter feels he needs in that center.
Right. Robert Bennett is comparing your boy Chasen to Barkevious Mingo 2.0.
And you know what? I would have to agree with that.
That's the only thing that worries me about Chasen.
What? You hit that right on the head. I would have to agree with that. I couldn't think of a player. I think he would fit in this scheme, but he could very much be. Wow. Okay.
Look,
that's all I can say.
All right, I'm gonna give y'all on what is today, the 11th of February. This is subject to change, but the 11th of February, I say, with the first round pick, we take Javon Kinlaw.
I'm gonna have to agree with that.
And I think the second round pick is Bradley Anaya and the Hall cornerback out of Virginia.
Okay.
Bryce Hall, I think is his name. If I had to call my first three picks, I think that's it right there.
Okay, I'm with those first two for sure.
So now I would like to see you could give me somebody other than that cornerback.
Okay.
But that's and I think that might be. How about this? I'm gonna change it up. Instead of that cornerback, give me one of the tight ends, either Komet or I think Hunter, like Bryant, I think is his name, out of Washington.
I haven't had a chance to really look at the tight end shit.
I know the Komet dude out of Notre Dame looks real good. I haven't looked much past him.
Okay.
But we have definitely hit the hour mark.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna start wrapping this thing up. We as always, we appreciate y'all for chiming in. Y'all are extremely active tonight on the chat. We will be back again in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
I know some of y'all saw where I did a breakdown on Espinoza. I did a breakdown on Kinlaw. It immediately got hit with a copyright claim, and I am not about to try to make somebody else money. So if I can recut it up, I might put it back out there. But like I said, I'm not trying to deal with copyright claims, so I may just stick to talking about draft players on here with y'all. But you can always find us on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128. That's GRIMM1128.
And I'm Toby D, 1991.
And that's pretty much it.
Yes, sir. Hey, please continue to subscribe, share, like, comment, all those beautiful things you guys have been helping us do. We're trying to hit that 2K, man, and we thank you guys for all the support you've given us.
That's right. And we'll see y'all again here in about 2 weeks, huh? And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.